Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. You know, I had done a video a few days ago about how green the desert's getting on the second channel, and it's downpouring here tonight. It's crazy. It doesn't feel like we are, anywhere near close to Death Valley, but yes, we are.
We are kind of close to Death Valley, and it is really wet outside. It's great.
And her hair looks great. So, anyway, good to see you guys. I'm sorry I kept you waiting a little bit there. There's a lot going on. There's been a lot going on since this morning. I mean, we could have gone live this morning. Honestly, I just did the update on the situation over in Turkey and all, and then just, I don't know, felt just like chilling today. It was just one of those days where, you got to take a breather every now and then, it could get overwhelming when you see all the stuff that's happening right now around us. Good to see you, Elena, Amos, Chris, Ryan, Tigerman, Susan Donahue. Good to see you. Nicole, thank you for helping as always, Nicole. STAC, Viva Mexico, Marvin, Latoya. Good to see you guys. Kathleen.
It's really good to see you guys. Modern Refugee, JD, Zilla Hawkins, Miss Darlene, Randy.
Outlaw Bob Barker in the house. Yay. John David. Starseed. The deserts are blooming, Starseed. I mean, I couldn't get over it. We found another spot yesterday that was gorgeous, and it made me feel so at peace being there. It was so bizarre. There's like 6, or was there 8?
There was like 6 trees.
There was 6 trees that, we don't get trees. We get like scrub, but there was 6 trees.
2 by 2. 2 by 2, like.
I felt like we were walking into 5D, honestly, because it's like, why are they here? And then we walked over there, and there was a patch of actual grass in the desert. It's like, just like what Two-Face is saying there. That's what I said. Wow, we got grass. It's amazing. Things are changing, guys. So, unfortunately, things are changing in a lot of ways, and we got to hang on. Nuclear quantum lasers, pew, pew, pew. Hang on tight, because there's so much going on right now. Outlaw Bob Barker says, today at Sam's Club, hand sanitizer, liquid soap, powdered milk, freeze-dry food, all gone. Yeah. Everything now it's hitting hard. We saw the lines that went around the block in Sunnyvale, California, yesterday's live. There's even more, sobering things that are happening right now. Definitely amazing, beautiful, and turbulent times for sure, as Starseed says. One thing that really hit me today, just doing a lot of meditation and connecting to the higher realms, is, boy, do we got to stay grounded now. And we can't act out of fear. As always, it would be stupid not to prepare, and just think that everything is going to immediately turn around rosy. But we don't want to panic, as Bob says there. No panic. Just prepare as best as we can now, because hopefully everybody's fairly well prepared. Cindy and I made a loop around to the local dollar store yesterday and cleaned out the shelf full of tomato goods again. So, you got to do what you got to do. And a lot of people are still asleep out there, but they won't be asleep for long.
No, they won't. Things are going to come and creeping and crawling slow but sure. And one thing it looks like that's happening is I don't know about slow, but the surely part, things are kind of changing.
They are. And, right off the bat, I couldn't find the link again. So many people sent me things all the time. RT, it was fascinating that RT, who gets hammered, and anytime you bring up anything from RT, there's, disclaimers all over it saying, hey, this is the Russian government, and they were talking about Mr. Gates and, mandatory V's, the V word, and it was like, wow, RT is into conspiracy. To say that, to say it just bluntly, pretty wild. There's so much going on, guys. Yeah. Okay. So, looking at the numbers, you see that they're showing 88,371. If you look at the blobs now, wow, these blobs are growing. Look at the European blob. Give it what? What do you think? Another 3-4 days, and all of Europe is just going to be blobbed out.
Yeah.
South Korea, 3,736 cases. Italy, 1,694. Iran, 978. Again, what happened here that these two countries exploded so much? If we're to believe the numbers, and you have Japan that was over there, they're only at 256. How about Singapore and Hong Kong, 106 and 96? You see Spain's up to 84. Germany's up to 130. France is up to 130. We still got 705 and others, and cruise ships probably around the world. The U.S. is showing 76. But, again, we know they're not testing. So the first thing we want to get is this, and I don't have permission to run this, and it's COVID-19 is the name of the channel. Small channel, 2.53 thousand subscribers, just basically got going with this. Now, what this is supposedly, this is somewhere around Grants Pass in Oregon. And so that's Southern Oregon. And I'm not sure if Carol's in the house, but we have a family member that's over in Grants Pass, Oregon. And so what you see is basically this lady sounds really nervous, really agitated. And there's different groups of what she says is soldiers in full medical garb, complete, head to toe protection suits. And there's bunches of them. And she says that they offloaded off of 3 buses. And so, I got the link for you guys, and you could play it for yourself. Her dog is barking nonstop in the car. And if you guys can speak dog language, you could tell that the dog seems super irritated. And, to me, it felt like it wouldn't be, I don't know her dog, but if Zeke was doing that, I would feel like there really was something up there. So this, I'll put the link right there so you guys could start taking a look at this as you like. This would be definitely a big step up in what we're talking about, because are we heading to basically medical martial law? And, is the end product going to be mandatory V's, thanks to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? What do you think? Susan says dog language is kind of rough. Well, yes, it is. It is, and I think, after looking at the RT article too, where do we get that from? Was that, I thought it was Dave, but
Dave,
I wonder if we could find that again so I could get it over to you guys, because, things disappear damn quick. I've noticed that tweets come out, and I go to check the tweet, and it's gone already. I mean, they must have, I don't know how many people they got on the payroll out there right now, just like scrubbing things. As soon as info comes out, they just get rid of it. They just delete the tweets or what have you. But yeah, Grants Pass is in Oregon, and it's in Southern Oregon. Beautiful area. So this is the area that we're looking at. You can see it's close to Medford. It's way south of Eugene. It's not too far over the California border. Beautiful area, densely wooded. And so that's where that video is supposed to be coming from. And, is there any doubt that things are going up now to a different level? That's creepy. It's the first time we've seen this, but probably will not be the last, unfortunately. So as we see the blobs start to grow, and if we look at the U.S. here, well, let's zone in on Toronto. You see it's the biggest blob we have there. And let's see what they're showing. They're showing 24 in Canada. But we got some updates coming too. So you see there's 2,996 deaths, 42,759 recovered. Yet they tell us that you could relapse anytime. And we're going to jump over here. This is RT, if it'll load again. Washington State declares emergency over coronavirus as CDC warns risk is increasing. But we don't call pandemics anymore. That's, we used to call it. Don't be sad now, but we're not calling pandemics anymore.
Well, because they would be so sad they would lose their money.
Yes, yeah, that's true. So, they're not going to call it a pandemic when we have the biggest thing going since 1918 Spanish flu, potentially. We'll see. Washington Governor Jay Inslee has declared a state of emergency after 3 new cases of COVID-19. 1 death resulting from the coronavirus was confirmed there on Saturday. Inslee said the time had come for proactive measures, adding that state officials have been preparing ever since the first coronavirus case was confirmed in Snohomish County. The measure will also allow the authorities to use the National Guard if necessary. So is that what we saw rolling in Oregon? I didn't hear about any state of emergency in that area yet. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Things are rolling out so quick. And if anybody out there has heard about it, please do let me know. So that's the thing. State of emergency, now you can roll out the National Guard as well. Centers for Disease Control, CDC, so far has reported that 2 new CV cases were linked to a life care center in Kirkland. We've been talking about that, suburb of Seattle. All the people in those type of communities, boy, it could roll through there very fast. Adding that the infected were a patient and a healthcare worker. Both of them are alive. However, it's still unclear how exactly they were infected. CDC has also warned that the risk to the public is increasing, noting that it sees signs that the CV can spread within the community. And the watchdog sees no evidence of spread at the national level at this time. So they say. It's just crazy stuff that we see going on here. As we jump over, we see coronavirus rumors and chaos in Alabama. Alabama guys. Now, that was one of the locations they were bringing people to. Anniston, Alabama. And so not long before local leaders decided, in the words of one of them, that federal health officials don't know what they are doing with their plan to quarantine novel coronavirus patients in town, a doctor here set out a biohazard suit to stage a one-man protest along the highway with a sign, "The virus has arrived. Are you ready?" Oh, my God. That's pretty wild. So you got a guy going out there, and he's all decked up in the protective suit, and it's as if he's out there saying the end is near. That reminds me of The Stand. Do you remember Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was out there, saying the end is near? What was that? The dark man is coming.
Yeah.
That was funny and sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing we don't want to do though is we don't want to lose our SHIT. That's like critical that we not do that, because I wonder how much of this is to kind of unnerve us and get us off our game.
A lot, I think. It's part of it. It's how much. There's so many things going on. Like if you guys caught the videos yesterday about that kid in Iran, as soon as you look up the street, you see there's FIVEG there. So there's that going on. As we know, we're so toxic in so many ways. We need to be constantly constantly just basically cleansing ourselves and detoxing because of everything, that's always there. Good to see you, Mustang Guy, 1969. Okay, thank you so much, Henry. Henry says, I'm preparing. No one's taking this serious. I warned family, friends, associates. They laugh at me, calling me silly. Said I will believe anything, trying to belittle me. They said it'll all be over in a week. Well, we hope it's over in a week. It's still not over in China, and that's been, how long has it been over there now? Let's see, we're at March 1st, right? So
December, January.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like 8 weeks or so over there, and it's still going on. So, the bottom line is whether this is something that's manufactured and it's not 100% this particular virus that they're telling us, irregardless, now we're seeing states of emergency declared. We're seeing, obviously, the economies of the globe getting trashed, people not being able to go to their jobs. We're seeing a huge effect from this. And now we're starting to really see lockdown conditions in other countries besides China. So are people's lives being affected, and are people dying? I would say, yeah, they are. As Bill says, don't worry, Bill and Melinda are on it. Yeah, we know there's so much. And let me jump over to this too. This is another biggie. So you guys saw this, right? This is big if this is real. I don't have reason to doubt it. I don't know what else it could be. It's somebody in Grants Pass, Oregon. And there you see a line of people, but they say there was 3 buses that offloaded soldiers done up in, and is that just a reflection? It looks like there's a TR3B up there.
Is, but I think it's a reflection.
Maybe it's just a reflection. It would be funny, though, in some ways, if there was a big triangular TR3B up in the sky. Yeah, I'd say it's reflections. But she sounds panicked. Is this something that was a put on? I don't know. I don't think so. It felt authentic. You guys, make up your mind on it as well. And, after the fact, we don't know exactly, like when you take this. Okay, so this was sent to me. And this is supposedly a drama from 2018 where it's like this doctor is talking to this lady and is talking about, it looks like a mutant coronavirus. What? Yeah, it looks like a mutant coronavirus. And she's like, oh no, corona? You mean MERS? And then they get into this, saying, well, the coronavirus attacks the respiratory system during the 2015 MERS epidemic, and goes into stats and stuff. Mortality rate was over 20%, right? And, then she starts talking about it being used as a weapon. Can this be used as a weapon? And then she says, this is a mutant virus. Someone tweaked it to increase mortality rate almost 90%. So, I don't read Mandarin or, any form of Chinese. So I don't know exactly what's true as far as that, but I got the link for you guys if you guys want to do some more research. If this is truly from 2018 again, how many different sources have we seen putting things out there that seems like they knew this was coming way before this guy here, so you got to really question it. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's just really got me confused and scratching my head as far as questions are concerned, because there's so many different facets, and to me, it's all pointing toward one goal. One end goal is the whole thing, and that part concerns me. I'm just wondering, you know, with when it comes to the EMFs and stuff, I think it's really important right now we all unplug every night. Just shut your phone off, shut your internet off, and get grounded every night. Watch your energy body closely.
Yeah, most definitely. And all the links are always down, guys. You got to just scroll down a ways, but all the links are down there. So everything's down there. Yeah, I think a part of this is most definitely creating the big fear and the hype. And when there's more than one purpose there. I mean, it's to sell us something ultimately, to get people to be compliant and willing to go along with anything because they're so scared. And I think we see that coming. That's been telegraphed. I think the other thing too, though, is really it's just a battle on consciousness. It's also just about keeping us in a lower frequency. Part of what's going on is, there's a lot of energy coming through, a lot of cosmic energy. We're being exposed to a lot more cosmic radiation, and our DNA is changing. There's people like Dr. Belinda Fox that has talked about seeing mutations in kids and people developing more strands of DNA. And, maybe you guys don't realize about the second chromosome, how it's definitely been fused. So somebody tinkered with our DNA in the past, that's for sure. And this is something that could be getting triggered so that we're waking up. A lot of people are seeing things out of the corner of their eyes. They're starting to notice different things. We have strange things happening here all the time. We had... it seemed like something, 2 nights ago, picked up a bag of beans and then just threw it.
It did. And it made me wonder later, I don't know, because I know the military has this cloaked technology, because it did. It sounded just like somebody picked up a bag of beans or a bag of dog food and dropped it deliberately out there. And the dogs did bark at that one.
They did. Thank you, Henry. Planes coming from China here at LAX, seeing U.S. just dragging its feet. People traveling state to state, possibly spreading it. I had anaphylaxis in the past. I'm not going through that again. Anxiety's up. Yeah, don't let anxiety get a hold of you. So practice, QiGong, Tai Chi, meditation, something. Get out into nature. Boy, when we went out yesterday and did our walk, and we went and sat on that patch of actual grass in the desert that blew our mind right by those trees, I felt so at peace. And, you guys still got that nonstop humming and ringing in your ears. That's been going on now for so long. I think most of us are getting used to that. But that went away. Everything kind of went away because, we're far enough out to where there's nothing around. And, man, it's peaceful. And that gets you out of the fight or flight, which we're in as soon as we start reading the news and seeing this stuff spread. It's causing you to basically be putting out hormones that are just going to age you faster, lower your resistance to disease, and make you susceptible to getting this or any other viruses. So we have to kind of guard ourselves. I would unplug at night, unplug the computer, leave the phones in the other room. One of my friends, she actually puts the phones in a cast iron, Dutch oven with the lid on every night, so that there could be no frequencies coming through, because, we're getting bombarded with different energies constantly.
Yeah, and one thing to do when the anxiety starts creeping up, start focusing on the solution and not everything that's going on around you. Start focusing on what the next right thing to do is, and that's usually you want to look at your diet, you want to look at your breathing, you just want to keep after the solution.
Bill says put it in your microwave. A lot of people do that. They really do. It's not a bad idea, just getting away from this. And anybody that's in the cities, the cities are getting blasted with FIVE, so it's one of those things. Again, we try to get away from it any way we possibly can, but stay positive, and again, I hope everybody has done as much prepping as they could have at this point. So yeah, as we were talking about, Alabama chaos there. Over here, if we jump over to Yahoo, And things are moving really slow. Here we see, sick of Italy's virus shutdown, Milan itches to get back to work. Well, imagine what it's like to be in Wuhan. I mean, these people have been on lockdown for, I think we're going close to 2 months now, right? And so Italy's gotten hit hard. Without a doubt, Italy's gotten hit hard. And then how about us over here? Because we could see it coming. And weeks ago, when people were saying, do you think it's coming here? And as far as us getting locked down, and I said, yeah, I don't doubt it. I think that's part of what's going to happen. I think kind of like that's always been par for this course that we are on, that we find ourselves on. So, empty streets and subways, shuttered museums, schools, deserted cafes and restaurants. Man, we're going to be missing the old days. But we should take the opportunity to reconnect with the people next to us and do things that we don't always do, such as just simply have conversations and unplug a little bit more. Well, we're going to be unplugging. One way or another now, we're going to be unplugging in so many ways. And this just hits me of Nazi Germany. The Uyghur Muslims sent to work in Chinese factory that supplies Nike, the report finds. And we talked about what happened in World War II. Ford Motor Company, and this always gets me in trouble, but Ford Motor Company used the slave labor of the concentration camps to produce tanks, and things. It's horrible what we're seeing going on. Thank you, Henry. Again, USPS employee just popped positive for virus. The things that go on in these type of times when there is no checks and balances, no way of really watching these things. Now, the Uyghur Muslims, in case you guys don't remember, so many of them have been sent to these re-education camps over there in China. They're nothing but concentration camps, and so they're quote-unquote re-education camps, so they can come out better citizens, a better part of the whole. Maybe they'll actually get a jump in their social credit score. And here it shows that they're sending them off to these, places to work. It's slave labor.
Sterling Hill, thank you. She says 60 gigahertz turns on many viruses. I use polarity water to keep my electrons spinning right. Wat Ha is my go-to water. I will be nebulizing it if I get hit with corona. Thank you so much for your support and the information.
We've been listening to 741? Yeah. Thank you, Henry. Henry just posted the link. We've been listening to 741 hertz, and I gotta say, it feels like it makes a difference. It really feels like it makes a difference. So when you go, just do a search for solfeggio, 741 hertz, and play it in the background for an hour or two. And I bet you anything, you're gonna feel a little more vibrant. You'll feel like you have a little more energy. So I would definitely recommend that, guys. And yeah, Bill's going to bust out his deck of cards. That's the thing. Power goes out and stuff. We actually talk to each other. We actually communicate. We find other things to do. Yeah. Part of what's wrong with our society is we're disconnected from Mother Earth. We're disconnected from each other. And we're disconnected from nature is the big point of it as well. Chris Crinkle's talking about the stock market closed. All that's going to be closing down. So, we're going to be in for, we're going to just have to kind of hopefully coast through these times, guys. Lay low, sort of, chill if you can, slow down. And I hope everybody's got some food in the pantry. And I hope you guys, have water and medicines, things like that you need. We don't really use any pharmaceuticals. But we do have, vitamins and things like that and herbs. So this is a clinical on cardiac implications of the CV19. So, they're saying that, overall it's about a 2% death rate, but it's 2.3 as far as mortality. But it depends on different things that you have going. So if you have hypertension, it jumps to 6%. If you're diabetic, 7.3%. If you have cardiovascular disease, 10.5%. And if you're around 80, it's 15% pretty much, from what they're saying. And again, you got to recognize these numbers they're not really so accurate. But again, this is there with all the rest of the links. So I have that for you guys too. And we'll let that one go. So we have the first coronavirus deaths reported in U.S., Thailand, and Australia. And, more than a third of the nations of the world are now, recognizing that they have cases. Global death toll is more than 3,000, as we've seen it go up, even with, what China's basically, they have kind of stopped reporting, So now we see quickly Italy and Iran jumping up drastically, and Italy's 1 day total was almost 50% increase. That's huge increase. And in case you guys are wondering, the Pope is still coughing, not feeling so well. He canceled participating in Lenten retreat. So, and we do know there's also a black Pope out there as well. Now, this is out of Hal Turner's radio show, and I had seen somebody else quoting this particular model. There's a team in Seattle did a flu study, and so they sequenced the genome of CV19 community case reported yesterday from Snohomish County, Washington. And so the implications are that this thing is going to spread far and wide super fast. As you see, the entire country in 38 days.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of pictures of people deliberately putting their slime and slobber on things just to give it to other people. That I guess they think if they got it, they want to make sure everybody else has it, and if they're going to suffer, everybody else is going to suffer. That's just disgusting, and that's another way to put more people into panic. But that's another reason to wash your hands really good too when you get home.
Coming out of meditation today, the thing that it was like somebody said this to me. It was just that this is the most blatantly obvious thing we've ever seen. Do you guys get that? That this is just so obvious in so many ways about, just how this whole thing is going down. The way the WHO has dragged its feet is completely obvious. And then to me it felt like, as with President Trump as well, hey, we got this all under control. Hey, it's fine. Just like that night he came out, and I think we were all a little bit, kind of had our jaws hit the floor after the Iran bombing, and he said, don't worry, everybody's fine. Anybody that looked at the photos and saw complete, structures just gone, you kind of know if anybody's in there, they're not fine. Thank you, Henry. Just a reminder, you all have cash, gold, and silver on hand. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Yes. In addition to washing your hands, wash your entire body. Okay, so there was another link that came up, which I was removed. It was talking about something that should be kind of obvious in a lot of people's minds as well. Bank runs, guys. Bank runs. That's going to be happening, and we should be aware of that. And I noticed, I don't know if it was my bank's normal procedure, but I wonder if you guys have heard of anybody else having problems getting cash withdrawals, and or being limited, because that's what the rumors I'm starting to hear is now they're putting limits on how much you could take out, because now that's the next step. People are going to be going to the bank to get cash, because who knows what's going to happen on down the line as well. I still think it's best to have actual goods. Of course, you might need cash for gas, or who knows in the future. We don't know how much everything's going to really shut down. We really don't know.
No, we don't know. It's just really, really best to be prepared, but definitely don't freak out. Don't give them your loosh. That's so not necessary. We need to stay in a place of neutrality, a place of peace. There's going to be things going on outside of us. It's how we handle them inside that's going to count.
Exactly. Yeah, so we won't panic, and just, go within as much. Ground yourselves too, Mercy Anonymous. I started my plants in the cold, threw up in a PCV room with heat lamps back in the winter. Yeah, get growing. And we got some pepper plants that are looking pretty good. And, every day I think I got to do more as far as the getting things planted. We really do. It's this wears on you. I know it wears on you guys too. But as I've shared with you guys, just reporting on this kind of drains you a little bit. It takes away some of your energy, because I always feel after we're done with this, and if I go on to a different topic or something, I feel my energy's starting to come up and get better. I know you love Cindy, nuclear quantum lasers. It's okay. It's okay. I know that. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, and we really don't have that much time now, as you guys are seeing, as far as preparations. So we have another county, Alameda County, declaring state of emergency after medics test positive. And this is from Zero Hedge. You got Rhode Island announcing a presumptive case. Patient recently went to Italy. Washington State confirms 2 more cases. 2 new cases confirmed in California. Israel case total hits 10. Day before the vote, South Korea death toll hits 22. Germany case total doubles in 24 hours. Mexican case total climbs to 5. White House is going to hold a meeting tomorrow with 8 pharma CEOs. Yeah, we know about that stuff. That's the thing, it's like, how do you get out of the mandatory V's? And I know a lot of us are going to say, hell no. Mm-hmm. Hell no, France reports 30 new cases. Italy reports 42% jump overnight, nearly 1,700. That's huge. See what happens when you actually test, which the U.S. still hasn't done. And more people every day saying they're on gag orders. We hear every day, right?
Yeah, that we do hear. We are hearing more nurses on gag orders. And, someone brought up a very pertinent question. And, Michael, you had a really good answer to that. It's like, you can't have the pandemic with no testing. But what did you say to that?
Well, just that, if you do have people dropping and face planting, people getting sick, whether you test or not, we're still seeing people getting sick. When it comes to China, I have an awful lot of questions as to, just how many of those people were on lists of being protesters and people that spoke up against the government. So I really am suspicious about that. But irregardless, when we have these states of emergencies declared, then, there could be National Guard out in the streets dressed up in, their hazmat suits, and it doesn't matter if it's declared or not. Right. It's just the WHO doesn't lose their money, on their insurance policies there, Yeah. So, irregardless.
So it's basically in their best interest that the tests are either ineffective or they don't work, so that way they can't officially declare anything and then officially lose their money. Sounds like. Yeah,
and at the same time, what we have is we have it. We have what appears to be a pandemic. We are definitely going to be seeing all the measures put in place as if it was a pandemic. So irregardless, and who knows to say exactly what is what. We don't know. I think I'm glad to see so many people understand that there's more than one thing going on here. So that's wonderful, because it does seem like more and more people are waking up to that fact that, there's more than one thing going on here. There's multiple things in effect.
There are, and it's like a really sick and disgusting alchemist layering thing that they've done to us here. They've put a few different things in play, and I do believe that ultimately EMF creates a really, really big problem for our bodies.
Definitely. Yeah, and we know that, and we also know that, FIVE is military. That's what it is. And there's a lot of things that people are waking up to, when we had the California fires, those funny lights coming from the sky, it's people wake up to these things. How do trees not burn, but yet houses are toast and trees are perfectly fine around the houses? That just doesn't look right, so we're waking up, but unfortunately not enough is getting done, to actually change things. And this is going to come to a head here. This is definitely going to come to a head. And as we see over here, the New York Stock Exchange could close trading floor, obviously in contingency. Everything's going to be shutting down. And I wonder how long everything will shut down for. And I wonder what's going to happen when everything's shut down. When everything's shut down, that's like, well, you guys seen the movie The Purge, right? You guys have seen that. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen, the movie The Purge. Why does it feel like we're kind of living that now, or getting set up to live something like that? We're not going to know what's going on. Now, what if we have thrown into this, as Bennett Suspicious Observers, somebody, I forget who it was, sent me something saying, he thinks we're starting to head into the next solar cycle, coming out of the minimum, So if we are going to come out of the minimum, then the sun's going to wake up. And then, we're going to end up getting some CMEs at some point. And we were warned by the government, a long time ago, have 6 months worth of food and preps and be ready to lose the grid. Oh, it was Ray. Okay, it was you, brother. Thank you. At the same time, we've been told that we're going to lose the grid and all that. So we know it's coming. And, what if it comes at the timing when this is all going down, and all of a sudden, boom, the grid is down. And we can't communicate with each other. Meanwhile, we have this lockdown going on, medical martial law, states of emergency everywhere. We saw the soldiers, we were in Grants Pass. What if that's pretty much everywhere? How will we know what's really going on? Just like, how do we know what really happened in China if it's still going on in China? How do we know really,
Right. And, if there's a lot of, even if it's propaganda, why is it going on? There's so much of it. And they did that, the part where they did say for us to be ready for 6 months without them, that part, anybody can look up. It's just that we don't want to see people stuck, with absolutely nothing because they didn't prepare. And, honestly, you can only prepare for yourself, but you might be that voice of reason in the long run when things really do come down and there are, we do have to stay home. You're going to be that person who saw it coming. You're going to be the one who's not panicking. So, it's just something that I feel like we're all going to have to face, and it just depends on how we respond to it is going to be the outcome.
And, I have had some of you guys talking about the Z word, Cypher, if you guys remember the project, and Pogo, and very seriously saying you better run, get out of the country, go hide somewhere, in a different country, go up, to the Himalayas or go down somewhere else. because the roundup is coming, and I wouldn't doubt that either. I think there's a lot of signs of all this going on. For you guys that know, nuclear quantum lasers just printed it out, and as soon as somebody puts up a video on this, it gets taken down, and then they'll put it up under another name, and then they'll get taken down. So if you just put the word project in front of this and Google, you guys will be able to see it. And I see that we have so many people in the house right now. Where's Mary? Mary from the Himalayas there. And, this is what she's saying. But she's been telling me for 3 years now, to leave the country, which, I can understand that, in a different world. Yeah, Costa Rica might be nice, and, but you have family and things like that. So you just have to make a decision. And everybody's going to get hit in a different way as well.
Thank you, Christopher. I have been blessed by both of you and all that you do. Just wanted to get this out before any major censorship or communication interruptions occur. Keep positive and keep up the great work. Much love from Ohio. Thank you so much, and thank you for the words. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And where in Ohio are you from? I lived in the Columbus area for about 3 years and I loved everything but the weather. It was just kind of cold. Okay. Yeah. So, Mary's worrying about the weather change too, which will happen. We are very close to Death Valley, so it gets pretty toasty here. Like even now, our days are mostly in the 70s, so it's pretty nice right now. And before you know it, we'll be at 100. Really, what I'm more concerned with, honestly, is Big Brother. That's the number one thing, and always, as far as my concern. Yeah, we have another in Central Ohio. Yeah, the weather does suck, but the people are great. Yeah, in Ohio, and they're great in other areas too. I've been blessed to live many different spots now, and I love it. Yeah, oh yeah, I like hot weather, Rosemary. And we would love to get over to Australia at some point in time too. I don't know if it's ever going to happen in this world though. The way
after 2025, I do.
After 2025, yeah, maybe after we're done with all this, because 2025 is a huge year. What's it going to look like in 2025? 2021, again, a lot of people are looking at the X marks the spot. The two eclipses that cross the U.S., and I gotta say that just hit me as like something huge. And a lot of people take it to be the beginning of the tribulation, August of 2017, and then the end will be over in 2024, 7 years later. So, if that's the case, then we just got to try to make it to the other side of 2024. And, okay, Bill's up in northern Ohio as well. Ohioans. Cleveland, Ohio, in the house. So, yeah, definitely a lot of Ohioans here. So, grocers, retailers, everybody's getting ready, and depending on where you are in the country right now, if you're in California, there's probably a lot off the shelves already from what we've seen. But now I think just about everywhere, people are going to be stocking up, frantically at the last minute. And here we see inside Trump's frantic attempts to minimize the coronavirus crisis. And frantic? Yeah, it did seem frantic. It really did. And it also just felt like it was dismissive, just dismissive. And the thing that a lot of people picked up on, and Cindy did right away, I didn't pick up on it as much, was that he almost seemed sick when he was talking about it. He seemed very, very tired and almost like he was under the weather.
Yeah, he did. I mean, look at that makeup around his eyes and stuff. They're trying to cover something pretty yucky, something pretty puffy. Something's bothering that man.
Well, we've seen every single president seems to age. Now, this is interesting. Israel making an exciting breakthrough in race for coronavirus vaccine. And, word is it's only like 3 weeks away. As you see here, Israeli scientists reported only a few weeks away from having developed the first vaccine to combat the coronavirus. Now, what was interesting was I had gotten a message from somebody else that was saying they were already developing the virus before there was an outbreak. And so again, that when you hear something like that, that gets you suspicious, and you got to wonder, is that really the case? Because boy, as we look at this, if this is really from 2018 again, how many people knew? I mean, this was telegraphed. As we see carnivals, cars, and concerts, Swiss cracking down on the virus. And we're going to see that everywhere now. We've seen a lot of governments suspending all public and private events with more than 1,000 participants, at least till March 15th. Yeah, the world that we knew is going away. And every time we have a major event, like when we had 9/11, it's not the same world anymore. All of a sudden, you had Department of Homeland Security, which to me sounded awfully Nazi-ish. But Operation Paperclip, when we look at the history of things, we see how things come together. Hope E&G in the house. Good to see you, brother. Another death in Washington, yeah. Paul Cottrell just put up another video. Yeah, wow. Okay, so, yeah, New York. Yeah, New York. Have you guys, anybody here ever walked down New York, Manhattan? My God, the amount of germs that you're exposed to in just a 1 block period. I would boggle the mind to think that there's not a ton of cases in New York. Uh-oh. Mary says it went offline.
Yeah, Nicole says it's buffering really bad just now, and she's already rebooted twice.
Okay, yeah, they're probably just trying to slow us down, guys. It's coming through again. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. I know, it might possibly, it's been raining pretty heavy. It could be the rain here. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the rain. Could be censorship. Or it could be a huge mothership, like Mr. MBB was showing as well. All of the above. And as Doug says, this is the bottom line. People are waking up. There was somebody posted a thread on Godlike Productions, which used to be like one of my favorite websites. It was bought out, definitely, and taken over by the feds. We know that. So they censor things. But somebody put it out there and was talking about how this is really a war on humanity. And so I think people are waking up. I really do. I think the masses are starting to wake up, As George Washington says, wow. Yeah, people are starting to get this. We're starting to get this. More and more people are starting to really, really wake up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think we're all starting to see the bigger picture. We can't be like super blunt about a lot of this, but we can kind of direct people to do their own research.
Yeah, most definitely. And, we're, as we said, before, we're in an area where, we have less than 1 person per square mile. If you go in like 100 square miles around where we are. So we are very remote compared to most places. And, yet it still doesn't feel quite enough remote to me. Like when we went for our walk yesterday, then when there's nothing but, you don't see even a street, you see nothing but just mountaintop after mountaintop, and you just climb up to one of those mountaintops. Now then that feels like peace, so it's a beautiful thing. Agent Smith, leave us alone. So like hell itself, thousands scream in hunger and desperation in Wuhan lockdown, and that's a hell of a photo. It's true. There's been so many of these heart-wrenching videos coming out from within Wuhan. People enter week 6 of their lockdown. And week 2 of complete isolation inside their homes. And again, these people are locked in. They're more than locked in. They're in most cases, they're either nailed shut or even welded shut. They cannot get out. And we've seen one elderly gentleman jump out his window down like 10 stories to try to get out. It's insane what people are having to go through. Here we see an ambulance left with one patient, no confirmation from life care that this ambulance transport is CV related, but first responders telling the media it does appear to be some type of respiratory issue. You're going to be seeing more and more of that all the time, I'm sure. And this is Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding. U.S. and Canada are now in this CV-19 hotbed together. Ontario reporting 4 more coronavirus cases. There are now 24 cases in Canada, 15 in Ontario, 8 in British Columbia, 1 in Quebec. So Canada's getting hit now harder. As we're going to have more and more people actually testing at some point. And we're talking about the North Bay hospital healthcare workers as well, isolation at home. There's cases coming out everywhere now. So good to hear. Washington labs able to run 200 tests a day. 7 firefighters quarantined from unprotected exposure to a patient. Yeah, if this repeats later across the country, it won't be good. So, there's going to be so many more cases coming out as they start to test. And you still see this. Officials refuse to test Brooklyn man with CV-19 symptoms after traveling to Japan. The guy says, I came in, I'm sick. I have symptoms like CV, but I'm not tested. Nobody's testing me. As he's coughing, he has his mask on. Even people that want to be tested, they're not testing. And so California has recorded at least 35 cases of CV-19 in Humboldt, Los Angeles, Orange, Sacramento, San Benito, San Diego, and more. So it's spreading there. And as we know, California is the biggest state in the nation. You see Armenia closes schools across the country for a week to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody's got to make their own decisions on stuff, but I mean, I would have the kids home now. That's just me. Mm-hmm. That's just me. But I've been saying that for weeks.
Yeah. And there's a problem. This is what puts a lot of us in a rock and a hard spot. If you take the kids out too long, CPS comes and takes your kids. So, I know we all are looking at a decision to make, and if any of you are in a position to homeschool, that might be an option.
Okay, so Arca Shiloh says, wait until Aries hour. War will break out full scale. Food riots. Police will be deployed in the hour of Taurus. You'll see the markets crash. And in Gemini, we'll have checkpoints galore. You were telling me Joni Petrie? Yes. So Cindy follows Joni Petrie a lot. And if you don't know, she's a Vedic astrologer. And you were telling me about, I don't even remember the date that you said to watch for, but astrologically, there's something super rough coming.
Yeah, it's March 24th. That's one of the dates where we'll be in a specific nakshatra, and I forgot the name of that nakshatra, but it is the deity is a serpent of the deep. And that can indicate like a lot of things coming to the surface. And what made me scared is the symbol for that is actually a coffin. I hated that. Mm-hmm.
So the symbol for that nakshatra is a coffin. Just in case you guys don't know, Cindy does do Vedic astrology charts. That's her thing. She loves Vedic astrology. She's done charts for a lot of you guys out there. And so anybody that's interested, she could do your chart as well. Just get in contact with us.
Thank you, Outlaw Bob Barker.
Yeah. Outlaw Bob Barker said, Cindy did my chart and she did spectacular. Try it. Well worth it. Most Vedic astrologers would charge like hundreds of dollars. Yes. But we're not like that. And really, she just loves to help people. So.
You know what? I do. They're really basic. A lot of Vedic astrologers, they can read like 4 different charts. I just do a basic chart, a basic reading, as long as you have what time you were born. There, it is kind of detailed. It does take me a while to put it together. But what I like to help people do is find out their path and what they might be good at, and help them find who they are, because it is mostly about a self-realization type thing. Yeah.
So yeah, anybody that's interested, just let us know, and she could do that as long as you have your time of birth, place of birth as well, time and place. So, if it was New York City, September 1st, 1980, something like that, at 11 p.m., something like that.
Time is imperative because the planets change from 15 minutes to 2 hours, so time is pretty important.
It's amazing how accurate they're at. So Animal Lovers asking about a March 24th event. It's astrologically speaking, it's a date to be aware of. And, some people don't believe in astrology, but I think it's part of the matrix that we are in, as everything is interrelated. If you know quantum physics, there's quantum entanglement, and there is consciousness galore everywhere we look. Everything is consciousness. So even the planets and the stars do have consciousness. Plus, it's just part of this matrix, the system that we are in. And it's amazing how accurate it can be. So here we see American Air announced today it will waive change fees up to 14 days prior to travel for customers who purchase travel between March 1st and March 16th. You're going to have maybe one of the things that comes out of this is there only be one airline. Maybe this is going to be such a massive consolidation, because think about all the businesses that are going to be going under. This is going to put out of business so many businesses, and then that will lead to a consolidation again. And, we've talked about the NWO and coming towards, a one world order outright. Obviously, there's the powers that be that control things behind the scenes, but the whole illusion of democracy and things like that will go by the wayside at some point if they have their way. And what will it look like after we're done with this? When will we be done with this? And what will it look like? Will there be such a consolidation again that there might only be one or maybe two airlines? There's not a ton now anyway. We know there's only really 6 companies that control all the media out there. When you get down to it, there's so few companies that really control everything. And that means there's so few individuals that really control everything when you get down to it. And here you have a statement from New York Governor Cuomo on the state's first case of coronavirus. So, as we see there, New York is also there. And this hit me a little bit too. First presumptive case of coronavirus in Sarasota. And so that was my hometown just a little while ago. No reason to panic, but wash your hands. Waiting for confirmation from the CDC. So yeah, Doctors Hospital of Sarasota has been notified by the Centers for Disease Control that we have a patient in our facility who has presumptively tested positive for CV-19. So yeah, it's hitting everywhere now, guys.
Yeah, it's coming around, and again, I don't feel bad about coming on here and talking about this, because it's like the Fibonacci sequence to me. Something is going to stick. Eventually something is going to stick. We're going to go around and come to a point where we might need to prepare and be ready for 6 months and say that'll pass, but the next go around we might need to be a little bit closer. So to me, what I see is like a matter of time, and it's just important to stay put, be aware, and I'm really thinking, we're going to be okay, but we should prepare. That's what I feel.
Yeah, most definitely prepare. And Brenda says, can it be within our drinking water? Theoretically, I would say sure. And as we said before, who knows? When you look up and, it looked like it was going to be a blue sky day with no clouds, and all of a sudden there's clouds everywhere. Who knows what's in those clouds? We really don't know, As, Joey D says, this this really is something that has gotten a lot of people's attention. If you guys could read what he just put here that I've highlighted, it's a possibility for sure. I mean, what we saw happen in China really made me, well, it made me take notice, just because it seemed like everybody they were chasing seemed pretty damn healthy. Didn't seem like they were sick at all, so you gotta wonder, you really gotta wonder, there's obviously more things going on than meets the eye. So prepare as much as we can, guys. There's not much really, well, in some spots there might not be much left on the shelves to get right now. So, make final preparations. Think about all the little things that you might be forgetting as well.
Yes, and I see Rosemary, she's preparing distilled water to make for her, what is that, ginger wine?
Uh-oh, she's heading happy hour.
It's getting close to happy hour, kids.
Yeah, exactly. And think about all these things. Think about all these things. Think about the little things. And, it can get frustrating trying to wake people up that are totally asleep. I get that. You just got to keep hammering it home. Like we update Cindy's mom. We update Cindy's kids. One of her daughters is awake. I'm not so sure.
The other one's busy with a newborn.
Yeah, the other one has a newborn baby, so not really so awake, But we got to just keep hammering on these people to wake them up. Because, again, it could be a case of you might do everything right. And, say your next door neighbor who doesn't know anything or, has their head in the sand ends up infecting you somehow, even though you're doing everything right. They knock on the door, you open the door, and they sneeze in your face. Yeah. That's you got to watch all these things, not to be paranoid, but, you're better off staying safe as best you can. And, awake means being close to God, close to source, however you word that. And for us, that comes first because we don't miss a day of doing our meditations, our mantras.
If you want to just email Michael on evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com with all your information, and I'll see you because we kind of do all the emails and everything together anyway.
Yeah. So just evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. If you guys are interested in having Cindy do your Vedic chart, and I do realize some people, are of a mindset because of the way they've been taught that things like, thinking that we have any sort of intuitive abilities, things like tarot cards or astrology is evil and of the devil. But, I've done a lot of videos trying to show how that's part of the control grid that's got people's minds absolutely encased so that they won't get in touch with that side of them. Get in touch with their own intuitive abilities, and to keep them looking to the church and the power structure of the powers that be. That's and that's really sad. But Calvin asked, does it cost money? Yes, it's just $25 for towards the channel for the Vedic chart. So we we shed the fear-based baggage, and that's the only way we're going to move forward, because it's all a control grid, and it's a thorough one. It's a real thorough one. Some people are awake in some ways, but still completely asleep in some others. And we try to wake up people as much as possible so that we can change the consciousness of the planet. That's the bottom line, is changing the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah, again, it has to do with there's going to be a lot of stuff going on outside of us, but it's how we interpret that data and bring it within and react. That's where it counts. That's where it matters.
And Optimist says the bliss of God realization is all satisfying, and it sure is. And there's a difference between believing something with the left brain and experiencing something that is within, and it's an actual experience. It's night and day. And Cindy knows that bliss very, very well. I do too.
I do. Like today, I was really dizzy, and I know I need to sit down and meditate, and I did that, and I can pull myself into that bliss, but I've been having problems pulling myself down. It's so confusing.
Well, yeah, so she's been on like a blissful high all day, and no, she hasn't drank anything. She doesn't do anything but simply meditate. But you can do that by going within and get into a state that is just ridiculously blissful and wonderful, and that's within us, and it's just something that has to be cultivated. It has to be cultivated. So as always, my friends, God bless. Namaste. We love you guys. Be safe out there.
God bless and namaste.